What if a man's life could be measured not by his age, but by the names he earned through transformation? Names like Siddhartha, Gautama, Buddha, Tathagata, Sugata, Sakyamuni, Sukriti, each one not just a title, but a turning point in the science of self-discovery. Welcome to Buddha the Scientist, where ancient wisdom meets modern science, and stories become experiments in truth. Today, we ask a simple yet profound question. Can a single human being become so deeply aware that every phase of his inner journey is worthy of a new name? Let's begin. Not in a temple, but in a royal palace 2,500 years ago, in Kapilavastu. A boy was born and named Siddhartha, meaning the one who has achieved the purpose. But that purpose wasn't power, it wasn't wealth, it was a burning question. What is the real cause of suffering, and can it end? Even with every comfort around him, Siddhartha felt an unrest within. Questions echoed through him like a silent storm. Who am I? Why do we suffer? What lies beyond birth and death? And these weren't just spiritual whispers. They were the same questions that gave birth to philosophy, psychology, and modern science. That thirst, not for belief but for understanding, was the beginning of his transformation. From Siddhartha, the seeker of purpose, to Gautama, the one who turns inward, toward wisdom. This was not a step away from life. It was the first step toward knowing it completely. When he left the palace, it wasn't an escape, it was an experiment, a question in motion. If happiness doesn't exist outside, can it be found within? He walked away from royalty, not in rebellion, but in curiosity. He fasted, he meditated, he pushed his body to the edge, testing pain, silence, and solitude. But then he discovered a deeper truth. Neither indulgence nor denial, the real path lies in balance. Today, science calls this homeostasis, the body's natural state of equilibrium. Buddha lived it, long before biology named it. In this phase, he was called shaman, not a religious priest, but one who experiments on himself. The real scientist of the inner world. And then, under the Bodhi tree, something shifted forever. When he observed his breath, his thoughts, his sensations, without judgment, without resistance, he awakened. He saw suffering, and the cause behind it. He saw craving, and how to end it. He reached a state of pure awareness. That's when Siddhartha became Buddha, the awakened one. Modern neuroscience says, the highest human evolution is not external. It's when a person becomes fully conscious of their own mind. But his evolution didn't stop there. He was now called Tathagata, one who sees reality exactly as it is. No filters, no fantasies, just truth. Isn't that the essence of the scientific method? To observe without bias, to witness without fear, to let truth speak for itself? Buddha embodied that. When he began sharing the path, not to escape suffering but to understand it, people called him Sugata, one who has walked the good path and leads others through it. Today, behavioral science calls this authentic leadership, not power, but presence, not preaching, but living the truth. He was also known as Sakyamuni, the silent thinker of the Sakya tribe. But his thinking wasn't just for his people, it was for all of humanity. Long before global citizenship was a concept, Buddha lived it, by seeing every being as worthy of compassion. And finally, he was called Sukriti, one whose thoughts and actions are in perfect harmony. Neuroscience now tells us, when your thoughts align with your actions, the brain reaches its most coherent and peaceful state. This was not mythology. This was mental engineering, done with breath, awareness, and relentless observation. And Buddha achieved all this, not in a lab, but in the only lab that truly matters, his own mind. Buddha didn't just teach peace, he decoded the structure of the human mind, without a microscope, without a scan, without a textbook. His laboratory was his own body, his instrument was awareness, and his data, was raw, lived experience. Let's look at what modern science now confirms. 1. Impermanence. The truth of constant change. Buddha taught, nothing is permanent, not emotions, not thoughts, not even pain. Today, quantum physics agrees, every atom is in constant motion, and neuroplasticity proves. Your brain changes with every new experience, every conscious thought. Stanford studies show, every moment of learning literally reshapes the brain's structure. What Buddha called anicca 2,500 years ago is now the foundation of brain science. Second, suffering. A scientific root Buddha said, greater than suffering is caused by uncontrolled craving. Modern psychology echoes this. When we chase endless desires, status, validation, comparison, our minds fall into stress, anxiety, and depression. Harvard research proves, greater than constant craving and overexposure to stimulation damages mental well-being and emotional stability. What Buddha observed through deep silence, science is now proving through high-tech research. 3. Mindfulness. Rewiring the brain. Buddha's practice of sati, mindful awareness, is now studied in the world's top institutions. Harvard and MIT found that regular mindfulness shrinks the amygdala, fear-anger center, strengthens the prefrontal cortex, decision-making, self-control, increases focus, memory, and emotional resilience. This isn't spirituality, this is brain transformation, exactly as Buddha described it. The default mode network, ego and peace in. Deep meditation, scientists noticed something remarkable. A part of the brain called the default mode network, DMN, responsible for daydreaming, ego, the overthinking, slows down. When DMN slows, we stop reliving old wounds, we stop chasing future fears, we enter the present moment. Buddha said it simply, cling not to the past, worry not for the future, live fully in the now, for that is where freedom lies. Stanford now confirms, mindfulness and deep meditation shrink DMN activity, creating true peace and presence. 5. Anger, attachment, and the power of observation. Buddha taught, holding on to anger is like holding a burning coal. You are the one who gets burned. Today's cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, proves, observing emotions without reacting changes the brain. MRI studies show, people who practice mindful awareness have reduced reactivity in the emotional centers of the brain. Awareness, not suppression, was Buddha's formula. 6. No self. The most radical science of all. Buddha said, there is no fixed self. What you think of as you is just a stream of changing thoughts, emotions, and sensations. Modern neuroscience now says the same. The self is an illusion, a product of constantly shifting neural activity. Buddha realized this, not by reading it but by dissolving his ego through direct observation. He didn't believe blindly. He didn't ask others to. He experimented on himself. And what he discovered has become the future of modern psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral science. So what does this all mean? For us, the real laboratory is not outside, it's within. The real experiment is not on others, it's on yourself. And the greatest truth is not in books, it's in awareness. Buddha's story is not just history, it's an invitation to sit, to breathe, to observe, and to discover, as he did, that every thought, every emotion, every desire can be understood and gently released. Moral of the story is, Buddha didn't leave us religion. He left us a blueprint for self-transformation, a map to observe our suffering, question our reality, and rewire our minds with clarity, compassion, and calm. His life shows us, you don't need a lab to be a scientist, you just need curiosity, courage, and consciousness. Now ask yourself, are your thoughts helping you evolve or holding you back? Do you observe your emotions or do they control you? Is your inner world chaotic, or have you started exploring it with calm attention? What if your mind is the next great frontier and you are the scientist? If this video made you pause, even for a moment, if it sparked a new idea, a deeper question, or just a quiet, inside your heart, then join us on this journey. Like this video to support this wisdom. Comment below and tell us, do you believe Buddha was a scientist? What part of his journey inspired you the most? Which topic should we explore next? Neuroscience? Emotions? Enlightenment? And if you want part 2, just write, "Yes, I want part 2," or "I want to explore the science of the self." And remember, be curious, be conscious, and never stop observing, because the revolution begins within. See you in the next episode. Thank you.